For our second keynote, Jambu Palaniappan, General Manager at Uber Middle East and Africa, will be giving a keynote entitled From Silicon Valley to the World. Welcome, Jambu.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. My name is Jambu Palaniappan. I lead Uber's business in the Middle East and Africa. I'm really excited to be here today. Beirut's one of my favorite cities because it feels to me like the sense of opportunity and the ideas of growth are really well fostered here. And so I love coming here and talking to people about it. I'll tell you a bit about our story, who we are, where we come from, and how we're trying to help build and grow options for transportation in this region and around the world. One of the things that is interesting about our business is how it works. And I find it helpful to give some history about where we were founded and our values. If you go to the next slide, you see a photo of our co-founders, Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp, and this was taken in front of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Travis and Garrett are serial entrepreneurs, and they're always thinking about kind of the next idea, and their vision was really a simple one. What if you could just take your phone out and push a button and a car would arrive, take you where you want to go, and take the hassle of finding a car or taxi out of the picture? Go to the next slide. The way that that's manifested itself is in a very simple mobile app. And so Uber is mobile only. The only way you can book an Uber ride is through your phone. We have an Android, iPhone, Windows, and BlackBerry option. Once you download the Uber app, you're able to instantly see cars that are available on our platform. They come in different flavors, and we'll talk about that a bit later. And each of those cars is able to be booked. Once you book that car, you're automatically given a photo of the driver, the name of the driver, and the contact details of that driver. So when the driver arrives, you simply get in the car, get to your destination, and when you get to the end of your trip, just walk out. All of the payment is integrated directly in the app. There's no fumbling with cash or moving or having to deal with any change. That basic principle is one that has extended for our business globally. And so in each of the countries that we operate in, that model exists. We don't own cars, we don't employ drivers, and that principle is what's led to now 50 countries in over 200 cities. We just launched yesterday in Cairo as well. This is an internal tool we have at Uber that we use to measure the overall health of a city, and this is a early day in San Francisco, our first city. In San Francisco at this point, each of those blue lines represents a concurrent trip. And so at this point, there were 4 concurrent trips going on at one time. And people were celebrating. We thought we had made it. We thought this is what success looked like. And this is San Francisco on a recent day. And what you see is an increase in the number of cars, an increase in the number of options that customers can book, and an overall reduction in the amount of time customers wait for cars. So what that leads to is higher efficiency and using technology as a mechanism for historically an offline product to actually improve its efficiency, have drivers earn more, and reduce the price for customers as well. That's led to a pretty rapid global expansion for our business. And this is a slide that somebody outside of our company actually put together. And the blue dots are cities that we've expanded to in the US, and the red are cities that we expanded to globally, and this is about a year old now. And what you can see is the expansion of our business globally was actually much quicker than the US equivalent. What we found was that the relevance and scalability of this model in markets across the globe was quite simple. This pain point existed, and scalable technology allows you to reach those markets sooner and faster. One of the ways we're able to actually build better customer experiences by using that technology to solve problems that people had. So one of the comments I used to hear when I talked to customers in Mexico City or in Mumbai was, before I got in a taxi at the end of the evening, I would send a photo of the license plate or reg number to my friend, brother, somebody else, so they knew what car I was in. What if there was a way to use the technology of Uber to actually share my location with a loved one or family member so they knew where I was and they knew I was safe? So we built this feature called Share My ETA, which allows for that to happen. Once customers are in cars, they can actually share their location real time with a friend, and that allows for peace of mind which we found to be one of the key components of differentiation, and technology allows us to provide that. That relevance has led to really strong growth for our business, and we've been really, really fortunate to see that. This is representative of our growth over the last several years. There's two components to our business, right? There are drivers and there are customers. And for this to really work, you need to have a successful model and liquid platform for both. So on the side of drivers, what we really strive to achieve is that all drivers are Uber qualified, that they go through training and have the appropriate licensure to be able to perform the service that they do. We have a very strong rating component to our system. So after every trip, customers rate drivers on a 5-star scale. And so we can reward drivers who do a great job and help drivers that need to do better improve and understand why. It's part of what makes me incredibly excited about our business in this region. This is a photo of a gentleman named Pete, who's one of our drivers in South Africa. And Pete, less than a year ago, was working in a factory. He was assembling mobile phones. And he heard about Uber, and initially he went and worked for a company driving a car for somebody else, and for several months he did that. And then he actually went out and saved enough money to buy his own vehicle. So he's standing in front of his new Audi, and this is actually a car he owns, is on the Uber platform, business owner and entrepreneur, and has now bought additional cars that he's put on the Uber platform. So for me, this is what gets me excited. This is what gets me up in the morning, is knowing that this opportunity exists, and that exists in most of the markets that we go to, and it's what allows us to continue to grow and scale. Very fortunate over the last 12 months to see that really come to fruition. And in the Middle East, this is our supply growth curve over the last 12 months. What you'll see is that's a 17x growth, and wasn't a small number to start with. 17 times the drivers, entrepreneurs, business owners coming on and using Uber as a way to make a living. Part of what allows for that to happen is a more efficient distribution of drivers based on where demand is likely to be. So drivers can real-time see in their app where they are most likely to get a ride with a heat map. And that heat map shows where customers are likely to open the app and where customers are likely to request. That dynamically changes by day of week, time of day, and even seasonality. Seeing that Uber cities have inherently benefited from the product being as part of their framework. So in Seattle, driving under the influence rates dropped 10% after Uber launched in the city, and in Chicago, taxi crime reduced by 20%, as taxi drivers are normally collecting cash and driving around over the course of the evening since Uber launched. Part of what's allowed us to continue to scale beyond where we just started is a product called UberX. It's something we've launched recently here in Beirut. And UberX is the low-cost Uber. What that means is it's the same technology, same efficiency, at just a lower price point. It brings us to our story here in Lebanon, and one that I'm incredibly proud to tell. When I think about the opportunities in this market, I think what we found is a lot of what I've talked about are particularly relevant here. And so we've got a couple of products, Uber Black product that we started with, and UberX as well. And these are photos of two of our driver partners in Beirut, Michelle on the left and Noor on the right. And they've gone out, started their own businesses, and have become entrepreneurs and business owners as a result of their partnerships with Uber. What's incredibly exciting is Beirut has actually been one of our fastest growing cities in the region. And to me, I think it's indicative of how open and interested people are in solutions that can help change how they move and how they live their lives. And so compared to all of those markets, Beirut was our fastest growing market in the Middle East. Try to have some fun as well. Try not to take ourselves too seriously. So this summer, we had Uber Ice Cream. The idea was you could request an ice cream van in the Uber app to deliver ice cream to your home or your office. And we've also taken on a local flavor with Eid and a partnership with Halab to deliver mamul on demand as well. So when I think about Uber and Lebanon, I think there's a couple of interesting dynamics here that are unique to the country and make me excited about the opportunity. I think there's huge potential for job creation here. We heard earlier about job creation for women in particular. I think broadly, there's a huge opportunity for Uber partners to come on board and become business owners and entrepreneurs. There's financial opportunities that come with that as well, and we've already started to see individuals that have started with just one vehicle with Uber start to bring on multiple vehicles. And as I mentioned with the ice cream and the other on-demand activities, I think we think of our product as a platform, and that platform can be used for other, for other mechanisms going forward. What we're doing is delivering a car to you in 5 minutes. What you choose to do with that is up to you. So once we're delivering a car to you in 5 minutes, there's not a lot we can't deliver to you in 5 minutes. There's opportunities to help improve the congestion as the city grows. And we'll talk about how that manifests itself. There's also a huge component of safety and having trust and peace of mind in the transport solutions that you're offering. I mentioned some of the reduction in DUIs that we've seen and the reduction in taxi crime as well. Price transparency is particularly important for us. Right? It's important that you know what you're going to pay before you get in the car, and it's important that that's based on what you expect. And the last piece is I think there's a huge opportunity to use this platform to help innovate. And it's amazing to see this group in this audience today because I think it shows what that potential can be. There's also a little bit of dreamer in us as a company and starting to think about how cities could be. You know, one of the themes I hear in many of the markets I go to, and I certainly probably attest to it in the traffic I sat in this morning coming to this venue, is that fewer cars probably make for more livable cities. And if you had a more reliable option that could help move you around the market that you live in, the city that you live in, help you get to work, help you take your family out, how could that actually help you think about getting rid of your own car? And that's a bit of a wild proposition, but hear me out. We've started testing this product in San Francisco and Paris called Uber Pool. And what Uber Pool is the idea of helping to take multiple individuals who are moving from the same location to similar destinations. And so here the driver picks up the first passenger, but before dropping off that first passenger, picks up the second and continues on and on. And so there's never a time where the driver is driving around without a passenger. This is maybe the technology answer to service. But the idea here is, what if you could reduce the amount of time that the drivers are spending not earning to reduce the price for all of the trips that they take when they are? So what we've seen is that a personal car moving, on average, at 1.6 passengers per trip and 3.5 trips per day is doing about 5.5 person trips a day. And what UberX, our low-cost Uber, with that same 1.6 passengers per trip, can do 24 trips per day. And so that's a 7x difference in the number of people one UberX vehicle can move versus personal cars. If you ladder on that Uber Pool example that I shared, where multiple customers are sharing the same car, you actually reach incredible levels of efficiency, 13 times more person trips per day than the equivalent of a personal vehicle. We also think it's cheaper than owning a car when you think about car payments, fuel, parking, insurance, maintenance. Taking lower cost Uber trips can actually save you money as well. So what sharing means is you can actually take the same number of person trips a day in a city, in this case 5.6 million, and complete them with over 800,000 fewer vehicles. What that would mean is that by having pooling and having 100,000 new driver partners driving and earning an income based on this model, there's a transportation revolution on our horizon. And as I said, we started testing this product in San Francisco and Paris. I imagine we'll start to roll it out very soon. But the idea of sharing assets and the idea of taking individuals and making them business owners and entrepreneurs is one that is, from our core as a business, has driven both our global expansion and our growth in markets as well. We think that could lead to far less congestion in cities like Beirut that are breaking as it grows. Talking about fewer emissions from a carbon footprint standpoint, less time spent in traffic, and 100,000 additional jobs. That's what I'm excited about, and I think that's where we, as a company, are really proud of going. So I really appreciate your time. I'm incredibly bullish about our business in Lebanon. Thanks for all your support.